Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class today on Saturday, July 19th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm coming to you live. And we're going to do a fun fold today. You may, if you've watched my videos before, you may have thought, what's going on? She's got a different angle going on with her camera. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down and relaxing a little bit. I had some surgery on my foot and trying to keep off of it as much as possible. But I created a bunch of projects before I had my surgery last Friday. And I'm just so excited. I can't wait to share. So we're going live, and I have energy mentally and physically up here. Just my foot is a little tired. So bear with me as you have a different view today. And thank you all for joining me. It looks like we have a few people popping on already. So this is great. Good to see my supporting members of my channel too. I love it. Your names stand out with those rhinestones. Thank you for supporting my channel in all the different ways that you do. And thank you for all of you who come to my videos each week and watch my live paper crafting classes. It's so much fun. A lot of you have been longtime viewers. You're subscribers of my channel. I appreciate you so very much. Some of you are new today. If you're new, chime in and say hello. We do not have Trisha with us. In fact, we didn't have Trisha with us last time I was live, and I thought we did. She goes, oh my gosh, you went live on a Tuesday, because I left for Las Vegas. I did my surgery out in Las Vegas, and I left for Las Vegas on a Wednesday. So I changed my video day to Tuesday, and I just assumed that she knew, since I thought I had mentioned the date the week before, but she didn't have that correct on her calendar. So she wasn't even with us, and I was commenting about how much I appreciate her, and I do. I appreciate her every time she's live with us, but you guys were probably, those of you that were on that Tuesday live were probably like, Rachel, she's not even here. So sorry about that. I am feeling better. I did have a down day yesterday. If you hear a lot of noise, it's because I've got my foot on my stool, which makes a ton of noise. Anyways, I was having a down day yesterday, and up at my cabin, or my parents' cabin, and we had some family there that were there that I hadn't seen in a long time, like at least 9-10 years. And so it was really nice to be with them. But one of my relatives, her name is Rachel, she pointed out, she goes, healing is not linear. It goes like this. And I'm like, you're right. So I took that into account and took some extra pain meds yesterday, which I hadn't taken in 5 days, the strong stuff. And I slept well last night. I woke up feeling great today. So I just needed that little boost. And I should have taken it earlier in the day when we were still up at my parents' place. But I just kept thinking, no, I can fight it out. And by the end of the day, I was like, Rachel, just take it. So anyways, so thank you all for your well wishes. Everything's going great. I'm mumbling too much. We have some things to share today. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I appreciate you, and I love it that you're chiming in on the live. If you are a first-time viewer, you can log into your YouTube or Google account, and that allows you to actually participate in the live commenting, the live conversations going on. You can connect with other viewers. It's so much fun. A lot of you have made friends via YouTube commenting. It's just so great to see those friendships build. So on that note, we are going to do a fun fold. And this is a fun fold that I created when I saw the beautiful Gallery Blooms paper. You guys who are Stampin' Up! Fans know what I'm talking about. It's new paper that was released in the annual catalog in May. And I just fell completely in love with it, bought it, and thought, oh my gosh, we have to do some kind of card where it looks like you're walking into a museum to see these beautiful papers. So this fold highlights beautiful papers, and it looks like you're at a museum. And so I'm calling it the Museum Gallery Fold. It's a fun one, and super easy. The first couple versions that I did with the museum or the Gallery Blooms paper, I put them together in a little bit more like complicated way, but then I figured out a better way to do it. So, and I'm doing the first debut card for you with the third version that I've created, and that's using the beautiful Blues kit. So let's go to the desktop and check that out. This is the beautiful Blues kit, and you get it in this wonderful box. You get adhesives, embellishments, a stamp set, a little ink spot, which is basically an ink pad, and then of course you open it up and you get all the other goodies. So you get this directional pamphlet, shows you visually how to put together the 3 different cards. For this kit, you get to make 3 of 3 different cards. I've already done some alternates with this kit because I'm completely in love with it. It's gorgeous. I love the blue and the white, the monochromatic, the gorgeous flowers. It's a stunning, stunning set. And I have to tell you, I have needed some sympathy cards in this year. And so it helps because there's some wishing you comfort, you're in my thoughts, sending love. There's some really nice phrases that can be used for those sympathy cards, or just thinking of you cards, get well cards, right? So we're going to take the images that are in this set. I've already got a larger ink pad. In fact, I have to tell you, I mentioned this ink pad in my supplies. So if you're looking at my supply list, you'll notice that this ink pad is listed, which is great because it's nice if you want to use this one instead of this one, but I didn't necessarily need to list this one. What I meant to list was the Night of Navy cardstock, which coordinates. So I'll have to make that change in my blog post. Oh, and a big welcome to those of you who are my blog subscribers. If you are at stampyourartout.com and you click on home, click on subscribe, and you've subscribed to my channel, or to my blog posts, you're getting emails whenever I post. And I released that post a couple hours ago. And so welcome to those of you who are catching the live because you saw it in the blog post. Okay, so this ink pad, we're going to use the larger one instead just because it's easier. So I'm going to set that one aside. In fact, I've purchased this kit before, so we're going to use the already used stamp set. And I'm going to toss those things aside. Let's take a peek at the contents. You also get a clear block because you'll want to be able to stamp with your stamps, and you need something to hold it onto. Now I use these that are sold by Stampin' Up! Because they're a little bit thicker. They're ergonomic. They hold in your hands really well. And so I'll be using those. You just peel your plastic sheet back and you can mount your stamps. Actually, this is the way you mount. Put it on your on the surface of your table, and then you pick it up with your block. That way you're not distorting your image. So let's get those stamps set up with clear blocks. These are the C size blocks. This one I'm going to put onto a D size block, which is the same size that you get with your kit. You also get adhesives like I mentioned before. This is a tape adhesive, and then there were dimensionals. I'm going to use my own personal ones for that. Let's see what else. I'm going to grab one more block. This is the B size block. So I'm using B, C, and D for my creations today. Where did that plastic go? There it is. Okay. And then what else do you get with the kit? You get envelopes. These are our A2 size envelopes. They have beautifully printed flaps on them. And they are a little over 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that those 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cards fit inside. Okay. And then we have our card bases, and you get 3 of 3 different kinds, as you can see. Oops, there we go. And this plain one, watercolor wash. So different blues are in there. It's not necessarily all navy. There's some azure afternoon in there. And then you have your little elements to decorate your cards with. And you can take and do alternate projects, which is what I love to do with all the kits. Here's a sheet of little laser cut layers, and then your sentiment labels. Okay, so let's start. Actually, you know what? Since I've already shared it on my blog post, and you have a link to the blog post, it's live. Let's just go ahead and share the actual card, and then we'll break it down and show all of the different things. Okay. All right, so this is the way the card opens up, like this. And then what you do is it's got these little barriers, you know, like when you go to a museum, you can't walk up to every photo or every piece of artwork, right? They keep you away from it so you don't touch it. And these are the little barriers that are in front of the artwork. And then, of course, you can put it in this kind of fashion on your table, and those barriers help to hold the card up. So it is my little museum, my museum gallery fold. I love it. It's so much fun. You can write on the back side, like that's where you can put your signature, any notes that you want to write. You have plenty of room if you are an avid writer. And then we have this little area here too. So if you fold it back together and then you just open it up like this flattens out and you can write on it. So if you want to put, you know, your love Carol or whatever your name is, right? So you could do it that way. But you can slip any beautiful designer paper in there. You can put some paper in there that's not artwork type of paper. You could put, I don't know, some fun cutesy stuff in there, right? It doesn't matter. It's just basically a display card. So, and it stands, it's freestanding. When I first did this one, and this is of course my third card, so you'd think I would know better by now. I did a little bit of gluing where I shouldn't have. So these kind of want to stick here, okay? Question from Sue, just curious, are you also on Facebook at the same time? I am not anymore. No, since March, I have gone away from Facebook for the second time and probably the last time. Facebook gets a little wonky sometimes. I just had a love-hate relationship with the Facebook Lives. And sometimes things glitch on YouTube too. But the thing that they just posted in February, I don't know if you know this, but those of you that post any kind of videos, your videos disappear after, I think it's, I don't know, so many days. I don't know how many days. I'm not going to quote it. But once they posted that, I'm like, I'm done. I'm so done. And I had already decided to just do my lives on YouTube anyways, because YouTube is free. You don't need to be a member of YouTube in order to watch videos on YouTube. You would have to have a YouTube, they call it a channel, but you don't have to post anything. But you do need to have like a Google or YouTube login in order to comment on lives, but not on the after lives. So you could be watching live. In fact, I see 121 viewers right now on my non-normal day here, which is awesome. Thank you so much for chiming. Oh, 124. But you don't have to worry about commenting during the live. Not everybody comments during the live. They comment sometimes after the live is done, which is totally fine. And that you don't need to have a Google or YouTube account for. So that was my big thing. And it was also a lot easier for me. Doing lives on 2 different platforms was twice the work. And so I'm trying to kind of simplify my life a little bit. So we're doing it that way. So it's a scenery card. You are so true. You're so right, Deb. Thanks so much. So I hope that answered your question. If you have questions, I love the way Sue did that. She put question in big, big letters. I can also see that my name is tagged in here, so that helps. And thank you for anybody. For those of you that want to tag me, what you do is you just put the @ sign, which is the A with a circle around it, and then start typing my name, Rachel, Rachel, and my name will pop up, and then you can tag me, and it will stand out so that I'll see it better. But you can also use tons of emojis, because we don't have, like I said earlier, we don't have Trisha, our moderator, with us. So I'll be answering the questions as we go, and I'm trying to watch the comments as we go too. So someone did ask, you're welcome. Someone did ask how my son's doing. My son is doing great. In fact, I asked him while I was gone for like over a week. I checked in with him a couple of times. I said, is Dad taking care of you? Is Luke taking care of you? And Nick replied, yep, I'm fine, Mom. No worries. So, and thank you for the reminder, Nancy, about the thumbs up. So, all right. So are we ready? Let's go ahead and make this card. We're going to start with a white willow base. And the reason why I chose that color is because when you look at the white that's in kits, the kit white is a little bit cooler. And so the white willow is the choice for that, because basic white is a warmer white. Let's take our trimmer and let's take a little bit of our 12 by 12 cardstock, because white willow comes in 12 by 12. And we're going to cut this to 5.5 inches in this direction. And then we're going to score. Actually, let's go ahead and cut the other direction too so that you don't have to think in a circular motion here. We need a piece for our base that is 5.5 by 10.5. So let's cut that this way. 5.5 by 10.5. So you could use basic white 8.5 by 11 cardstock for the base, just so you know. Okay, so we'll cut that at 10.5, and then we're going to score this in 2 spots to make the 3 panels. So our first score line is going to be at 3.5. I'm looking at my PDF, and that PDF I haven't shared with you yet. Let me share that with you right now. Let's just take a quick little detour for a moment here. This is the PDF. So if you are someone who follows my blog posts, you know that I connect my videos with blog posts so that you have more information. I like to share a lot of resources when I do my videos. So I don't just do a video. I do a video and a blog post, and that blog post contains the video, which is embedded in it, written measurements again, this PDF sometimes, but anytime I do a live online paper crafting class, I try to add a PDF too, so that you can print it off or just keep it on your computer as a resource. It has the date on it, which my head is covering. It has the title, which my head is partially covering. And then it has measurements, supplies, photos of the projects, so that you can go back to that blog post and you can shop from there. You can click on the video again. You could also go just to my YouTube channel referring to that date and the name. All of the supplies, most of them I should say, are clickable so that you can shop from them. They will take you to my online store so that you can purchase that product as well. So this is a resource that you can grab up now because the link is in the description of my video. And that way, if you want to follow along, you certainly can. So we're going to score at 3.5. And then we're going to score again at 7. And every section now is 3.5 inches wide because 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 equals 10.5. Okay? All right, next, we're going to go to our other white pieces. We need some little strips that go across as barriers along the bottom. So I'm just going to take some scraps because, boy, when I use my 12 by 12, I have a lot of scraps. We're just going to grab this one because it's already really skinny. We're going to make it 1.25 inches tall. And then we're going to we're going to cut again we need 2 of them that are 7 inches. We won't get that out of a 12-inch piece. We need one that is 5 inches. So let's do a 7-inch piece out of this. And we also have a 5-inch piece, and we need one more 7-inch piece. So let's grab another skinny, small little section. I think this one might be 7 inches. Nope, 6.5. We're using the scraps, and we didn't get them ready ahead of time because Rachel can't walk very far for too long. So bear with me. Let's just use this one. It's also a skinny piece. We'll make that one 7 inches. Just got home last night from my parents' lake place, and so I am preparing now because remember I was in pain last night. So we have all of my cardstock off to one side here, and we're just going through it as we move along here. All right, so we have our 2 7-inch pieces and our 1 5-inch piece, and they are all 1.25 inches tall. I think that's the perfect height so that you don't cover up too much of your artwork. When it's sitting down on a tabletop, whatever, you can see further down beyond. But if you make this much taller, you're going to be covering up stuff there. Now, if you're thinking of alternate card variations on this, you could certainly make that taller and then not have, let's say you had only like a small picture to put behind there. That would work too. So, all right, so we have our strips. We're going to score our 2 7-inch pieces at 1.75. I'm using the light blade, by the way, if you've noticed. If you're new to paper crafting, our light blade scores and our dark blade cuts. 2.5, so I'm just shifting it and we're scoring at 2.5. I'm keeping the paper level at the top here. And then I've got a 6-inch score, which is over here. And I have a 6 3/4 inch score. And hopefully these score lines are right because, again, I'm on drugs. Let's do the other one. Oh my goodness. It's a joke. For those of you that are coming in late, I had surgery. That's why I said that. All right, so 1 3/4, 2 1/2. I don't seriously take drugs all the time. All right, and then 6 3/4. And that leaves us with this 1/4 inch little section on the end, and that's going to be like an attaching section. And you can go ahead and fold those pieces like that. I think I actually forgot another score line. Oh, I'm going to have to change that PDF, you guys. I forgot another score line. Okay, and this one actually goes back like that. So these are going to fold like this. And this one's going to go on the other side, and it's going to fold like that. And we have to put score lines here. I can't believe I forgot that. So we need to go in. If this section is 3 1/2 inches wide, half of that is 1 1/2 plus 1/4. So it's 1 3/4. We need to go in here. And to add that on to what we've already done, this one was at 2 1/2. So another 1 3/4 is going to give us 4 1/4. I need to add a 4 1/4 inch score mark, you guys. I'm so sorry about that. I did that the first time I made it too. So 1 3/4, 2 1/2, 4 1/4, 6 3/4. Forgive me. All right. So here we go. Now we have that score line that's going to jut out. Okay, and then our third piece is 5 inches only. This is the one that's going to go in the middle. And I believe I probably forgot a score line in this one too. So yes, I did. So we're going to score this one at 3/4 in on each end, like it says. And I might just change those around to say 3 3/4, and then we need another 1 3/4. So that would bring us to 1 3/4. That would be 2 1/2. And then your last score line, instead of going 3 3/4 on each end, that one would be positioned at 4 1/4. I'll change the PDF. All right. Thank you for the laughing emoji there, Nancy. All right. So we have our white piece. We have our white strips. We need some layers now. Let's go ahead and bring in our Night of Navy cardstock and our silver foil, which I accidentally bent. I hope that doesn't affect what we're cutting. So we need 2 silver foil pieces, and they are going to be, oh good, it won't, 5 1/4 inches tall. Let me zoom in, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of far away. There we go. So 5 1/4 inches tall by 3 1/4 inches wide. Get that scoring blade out of the way. Double check to make sure I'm cutting this right. We're going to need 2 of them. So 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And we'll just omit that little part there that got, well, it doesn't matter because it's going to be underneath. But still, it got flawed. Do you see that? There's a little kink here too, but that one doesn't seem as bad. Sometimes I get a little rough with putting my stuff away. All right, so we have those 2 layers, and then we need a similar layer for our Night of Navy. Oh good, this one's 5 1/4 inches tall already, and we will cut that one to 3 1/4. So we have our 3 layers, 2 for the outside and 1 for the inside. We also need a silver foil little strip that is 3 1/4 inches, no, 3 1/8 inches wide. And why is it sticky? Because I did something on the back side of it. Okay, 3 1/8, and it needs to be 3/4 inches tall. And since we have a little bit of stickiness on the back side, I don't have to worry about a Post-it note, but you could put a little Post-it note here and hold it in place. I'm using this side of the trimmer to trim it. And so that one's going to be 3/4 by 3 1/8. Now let's grab our kit pieces, okay? Love you too, Therese. And I think you say it Therese, right? Love you. All right, so let's see here. We were just talking about all of our, when we were up at the cabin, all of our family members were talking about our international experiences going abroad for studies and things like that. Because we had, some of you that follow my blog, you know that we had an exchange student from South Korea, Pyeongchang. He was here for half a year. And so I was talking about that. And then other people were talking about there were like 4 other people that had experiences from overseas. My sister actually went to France. She was there for a long time. She majored in French. I did not, but I know it a little bit. Okay, and now we have this piece. We're going to cut that out. So I try my best. And you know what's great is that Google translates things. So if you ever want to communicate with somebody via email or, or just online or whatever, you can Google translate things. So when we had Pyeongchang with us, I would translate things to his language so that his mom and I could talk. It was great. Okay, so there's this piece and we need this one. And I think that's it from the kit. An envelope. You could use an envelope too from the kit, but we also have basic white envelopes. So let's say you made a bunch of alternates with this kit and you're like, oh my gosh, I used up all the envelopes. You can just use our basic white envelopes to mail your card. So these are the kit pieces that we need. Let's go ahead. These are ready. So we'll set those aside. Oh, we need one more. I lied. We need one of these little ones here. Okay, and then, and my blog. You can translate that too because I have like this little symbol up there that you can click on and you can change it to whatever language works for you, I think. Whatever Google allows. Okay, so we're going to trim this one. And I think first I'm going to cut it. I have to look at my original. Hang on. Oh yeah, first I cut it right down the score line, the fold line. So at 4 1/4 inches. So there's a white piece we could use for later, but here we go. So this piece here I took and I cut in this direction, I believe. I cut it a little further in. I think I cut it a little further in. So I took about 1/8 of an inch off, I want to say. 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I think because I wanted lots of the flowers to be in the middle. So this piece now is going to be 3 1/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch shorter in each direction as these 2 pieces because they're going to layer on top. So remember, those were 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to go 3 1/8. See, and now I have those flowers the way I want them. And then by 5 1/8, and we want lots of the flower stuff, so we're going to cut away the white on the bottom. 3 1/8 by 5 1/8. We'll do the same thing with these pieces, and this one I'm just going to trim away from the 2 sides. So 3 1/8 using this measurement here. Also 3 1/8. We'll do that. So hang on to those because they're beautiful papers. And then by 5 1/8, and I think what I did was I cut off the leafy portions on the bottom because those didn't show as much. So we'll just stack them and we'll cut at 5 1/8, which cuts 3/8 of an inch off the bottom. All right, save those, they're pretty. So here we have our 2 side pieces. We'll set that over there because we're done with trimming. We have our middle piece. We have our layer pieces. And these are going to layer together. Gosh, lots of fun layering. These are going to layer together. Are you ready? Let's put the card together. Yay! Stamping is next. You want to stamp before you assemble your card because stamping should be on a flat surface. So we're going to go ahead and stamp these 2 elements. Also, if you feel like it, you could write on the back side of your card layer before the card gets put together. But honestly, it's not too bulky of a card, and the elements that I've put on that stick out are actually on this piece here. And so when you're opening this whole thing up, if you're going to write on the back side, you can write up here in these spaces and you don't have that bump. If you decide to put embellishments on this panel, you certainly can because it's going to be our top layer. But don't put any embellishments that will be bumpy on these sections because those get folded in and flattened down. So you really want to focus on just here and here. And so we'll focus on adding anything bumpy towards the end. Let's set that card aside again. And I'm just going to crease this so that we can see where the folds are. Let's use our bone folder. And let's bring in our stamps and our ink pad. And I'm using the larger ink pad, but you do get Night of Navy ink with the kit. It's just in a tiny little ink spot like that. We'll open this up. We're going to use our Sending Love stamp. You just tap, tap, tap real lightly on these firm foam ink pads. And I'm going to put this against a dark surface so it's easier to center, especially because I'm coming in at an angle more so than normal. So you had a dress that was similar to this, Debbie. So I got to tell you, there was some lady who was out in Las Vegas when I was getting my surgery out there who had on a similar shirt. Like she had a shirt that had this blue and white flower. The white flowers were against a blue background, and it was stunning. Oh my gosh. And of course I didn't know her, so I didn't go up and say, by the way, you match one of our kits. But I wanted to. All right, so we're going to ink this up, and we're going to stamp this down. I'll make sure you can see. We're going to stamp this down so that our sending is parallel to the top and bottom of that label piece. And again, I'm not even looking from the top anymore. I'm totally at an angle. Oh, it worked. Yay for Rachel. Thank you, Kim. All right, and then we're not using the leaf stamp, but I could totally see you adding, if you wanted to, you could add a few more leaves in here or whatever. You can fancy it up. And we're not using the, oh yeah, we are. We're using the Wishing You Comfort, but not the one that says You're in My Thoughts, because I decided to use this label in the middle. So we're now going to stamp that, ink that up, tap, tap, tap. And we're going to come in, trying to keep that straight. Oh, from the camera here, it looks like it's straight. Let's pray. Oh, it worked. Yay. See, I can stamp sitting down too. I'm a stander. How many of you stand and how many of you sit? Comment if you are a sitter. Comment if you're a stander. I love to stand and craft. I have two tables. This one has no chair and this one has no chair. And I craft from both of them. Sometimes I sit down. I have a table that's actually across the room in the opposite direction of the camera. And I do have a table there. And so I have things spread out there, but I never go there. And I should. All right, we're going to close this up because we're done with the stamping. Although, again, you can really add some pretty stuff to it. If you wanted to, you could stamp the back side with a bunch of leaves sticking out in the corners. Maybe stamp once and then twice again without re-inking, so you have that dimension look, All right, so let's go ahead and layer and connect. All right, the first thing we need to do is our white barriers. The white barriers are first. All of these pieces are last, and these are middle. Okay, let's bring in those white layers. So these white layers have a little score in the middle. You don't have to worry about those quite yet. These two are going to go in like that. And I mentioned these already. Go in like this. And this one also the same, but we're going to flip it. So these are the two that we're going to add first, because this one's going to scoot in between them and connect in the middle down here. So let's add our thick little layer here, and I'll do that with Seal. You could use your multi-purpose liquid glue, which I've also brought in. All right, maybe we'll just use Seal today. It's been over a week since I have paper crafted, you guys. I miss it so much. I'm putting my Seal away. Let's bring in the multi-purpose liquid glue. Hopefully we won't get too messy. I get messy with my glue. I don't mean to, but I'm not like an avid glue user. See, I went off the edge, but it's okay because it's a very thin amount. This is going to get added into this little corner here. Okay, so you see that corner? We're going to add that right in here so that our first fold lines up with the crease that's going in the middle. And you can fold this back and then check that out if you want to, but it also has to actually it has to fold in this direction because this is the front of the card. So, and we're making sure that this is nice and aligned. The nice thing about glue is that you have that time to kind of wiggle it and get it in the right place. So that's set. Now we're going to butt this up against it and we're going to check. Okay, this is where you may have to do a little bit of trimming with your scissors. So we're going to fold that in and we're going to fold that on top. And it looks like it'll work, but I am going to just trim a tiny little hair off there. Just a little bit. So that I don't have to worry about any tightness going in there. We'll stick that in, fold that over. Oh yeah, that's much better. So let's go ahead and glue that. Do you guys have this? This is so stinking cute. This is from thecountryhive.com. My friend Ashley and her husband James, they make these cute little multi-purpose glue holders. They call them Tombow glue holders because that is the brand, Tombow. And I just love them. I get every one of their new ones. Alrighty. So yeah, now the glue's not coming out because Rachel is being too careful. I could use my precision tip bottle. Maybe that's what I'll do. My precision tip bottle is in their other glue holder. They don't make like the cute critters and all of that stuff for their other glue holders, but they have these round top ones instead of these kind of oblong ones. But these are for like rounder glue holders or stickles or things like that. So this is my precision tip. Maybe I'll just have that one set aside and ready. In fact, we should do that one for the next piece of glue. And look what I did. Do you guys see that? See, I am not very clean with my with using glue. All right. It's gone. Stickiness is gone. Now we're going to bring these two pieces and connect them, the little 1/4 inch edges, we're going to connect them to these edges. So this is where I'm going to bring in the precision tip glue, and we're just going to add a little bit right there. Bring that fold back, stick it down in this corner, connect, make sure everything's nice and straight. There we go. Fold that down in that way. Fold that down in that way. That looks good. Yay. And then there is our little fold in the middle, which again, you don't have to worry about yet, but that's going to help to hold our gallery, our museum gallery barrier up. Let's glue this one. So all these little barriers have to get put on first because of this middle section here, which holds everything in place. Fold that back. Stick this down in that corner. Shift if you need to, because again, we have our glue that we've used, so we can kind of shift it as we go, and everything's lined up. Looks good. Okay, next is this piece. These are the two areas that are going to get glued because they're wider. I'll go ahead and use the multi-purpose. We're going to glue both sides because we're going to put them in at the same time. You don't have to, but I am. All right, so let's just fold them back, stick them down in, and bring them out to the sides and connect. You have an old towel to wipe off the extra glue. Smart, smart girl there, Sue. All right. Hi, Linda. I'm feeling good. Today is a good day. Yesterday wasn't a good day, and the first, I want to say, well, actually, the first day was great because I was on the surgery drugs. The first day was great, and the second day was not. And then yesterday was a bad day. So I've only really had 2 bad days since the 11th of July, which was the day of my surgery. And yesterday wasn't like super bad. Like I waited until I went to bed to take the hydrocodone, but I hadn't been taking that since the first few days of the surgery. And like the first day and the third day, I only took preventatively. Like I was feeling great, but maybe I was feeling great because of the drugs. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for asking. My foot is healing. It's going to be a long process. I'm not supposed to do a lot of walking. I have crutches. And so I'm sitting. You get to see the floor section of the base section of my storage areas back there. Okay, so that's nice and dry now. And now at this point, you can take and bend. You know, this is where you'd want to bend these. And you can stand it. right? So now it's ready to manipulate and stand. And again, we're going to fold it like this to close it. So this panel here and all through here is where you could put anything that sticks out. You could also fold it this way. I mean, you certainly could if you wanted to, but then you have your back area exposed, and sometimes that's odd. And then you also have to, like, you'd have to decorate this panel. But doing it this way, you only have to decorate 3 panels. Not that you wouldn't want to decorate more. You guys are crafters. Okay, let's go ahead and add, and this time I'm going to use my seal because I have a wider space. There we go. To kind of kickstart that seal to get it going. So we have our beautiful blue on white background, and that's going to go against the navy. And then we have our other 2 panels, and those are going to go against our silver foil. If you're somebody who doesn't want to use up all of this silver foil, tip for you, okay? Just cut right in here, okay? Just cut the middle section out, and then you can use that extra silver foil for something else. Who was it that asked that? Linda was concerned. She goes, have you been doing too much? Have you been traveling too much? Okay, so the surgery was in Las Vegas, and so I needed to be out there for that. But my sister who came with me and my aunt-in-law, my husband's aunt, took really good care of me. I had a wheelchair that the hotel let me use, the second hotel that my aunt-in-law got us into. Thank you again, Anne, if you're watching. But she got us into Green Valley Ranch Casino Hotel, and it was off the strip, and it was less expensive for food. And she treated us to not only the hotel room, but she treated us to all these meals, a movie. She drove us around. She had all these points that she could cash in on. And so she was more than happy to use them, and I was so grateful. I can't even tell you. Any gift ideas for Aunt Anne, let me know, you guys. I wanna gift her. So you see this little section here? That's gonna get covered up. So that little divot, right? Okay, so now you want to center that in here, get it nice and lined up, and stick that down. So I had to go out there because that's where the surgeon is. He's a well-known surgeon for this decompression surgery. And so I got 2 decompression surgeries done and a tarsal tunnel release. I had tarsal tunnel issues. And so he took care of that left foot really well, got 3 incisions. And but the wheelchair was a godsend. And so, no, I didn't do a lot of walking while I was out there. Delta Airlines took care of us too. They wheeled us around as well. I got to have wheelchair access there. And so, and then had I stayed at home, my husband forgot to take work off. So had I stayed at home, I would have been doing a lot more walking. It was actually good that I went up to my parents' place. My sister drove us, and she and my mom and everyone else pretty much took good care of me out there. So I'm going to shift this one because it's not as tall. Maybe I should shift the other one because that one's, no, I'll just shift this one. So I was taken care of. I've got crutches with me. I have been doing great. Oh, I can't do the little wiggle like I usually do because there's a little barrier there. Okay. Should have been paying attention. There, that looks, well, okay. We're moving the middle one down, you guys. So yeah, it was even though there was traveling, I went to where I was going to have lots more assistance because my husband, he felt bad too. He's like, I completely forgot, but you know, he was going to work from home and then he couldn't. Next week he's working from home and he works from home, or he worked from home yesterday. So, so if I need anything, he can run and get it. But again, I can put a little weight on it, just not a lot. Okay, so there's that. Next, we're going to add our accents. You guys, we're almost done. So you could take and emboss these before you add them too. That gives a lot of flair to it. You could put designer paper panels on there if you want to. You don't want to distract from your artwork though, especially if you're turning this into a museum gallery type of card, right? So that just goes here, and you could use a ruler and measure to make sure it's accurate, but I'm just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to put this down flat too. Normally I would probably put this up with dimensionals, but Again, these two panels you want to have as flat as possible. So I'm going to stick that on so it's centered as well as I can. Again, you can measure if you want to. That looks pretty good. And this is where I went wrong. On my first one, I don't know, I put it on here and then I'm like, oh, let me glue all of these pieces over here too. And then they stuck down, and then when I lifted the card up, they were kind of like bending back. So we're just gonna take and glue the bottom half of this center rectangle, just the bottom half, because it does stick up higher, and you'll see in just a minute why it sticks up higher. So I just have a little bit of glue on the bottom half. So we're gonna fold this flat, and we're gonna stick this on here like that, staying within this crease, but having it down as much as we can so that these guys are not going beyond the sides and the bottom. So you can see it's not completely on there. Just the bottom half of it is on there. The other half is going beyond. And I'm checking back there and we're all good. Okay? All right, and then this one can go on top, and I did add this on with a couple dimensionals. You get dimensionals in your kit, so you can use them. They're slightly smaller than the regular ones, but they still work just the same. And those are going to go in here like that to cover up that rectangle. Oops, hang on. I'm going to keep it within that little bend there too. So we're going to go here. Okay, next we're going to add, that's what I forgot. I forgot rhinestones. Hang on. Got the rhinestones. Yep, I'm supposed to walk 60 to 80 feet a day now. So that was only like 3. All right, so we're going to stick this flat, kind of flatten that down, and we're going to put the rhinestones on here. I'm going to put a couple on to, actually, you know what? This is what's going to help. If you fold this completely down, then you can see exactly where you can add anything. So we're going to add a couple here. Don't put them on top of a score, because that won't work. We're going to do a large and a couple small here. I love this kit. This kit is amazing. And then I think I have one here that's medium, right in this spot. But you could, and I'll just do it with another small one. You could add like some up in here. You know what I mean? Because that's the front of your card. So you could glitz it up even beyond into this front panel. And that is the finished card, you guys. Let me show you the other versions that I'll be photographing and sharing on my blog in the coming days. I'm not sure exactly when yet, but I'll be doing that for you so that you can get even more inspiration and details on these two cards. So the first one that I made is, hang on a minute. The first one that I made is this one here, and I'm going to fold it closed first and then bring it in. So it's using the beautiful Gallery, I think Gallery Blooms is what it's called, Gallery Blooms paper. I've got some gold foiling behind it, and then I've used the Country Woods designer paper as a back layer to make it look like it's on a wooden frame with some gold accenting on the edges. We have some embossed, which is why I was mentioning it would be fun to do an embossing, right? This is so fun. So you could emboss here. This paper is perfect for this card because every paper in there literally is like a replica of artwork, right? So you have artwork prints. I'm not sure if it was Stampin' Up. I'm sure it was. I'm guessing it was. Like the Stampin' Up artist probably created these beautiful pieces of artwork, and then like they should be in a gallery. They are stunning, you guys. They are so stunning. And you open it up and it looks like this. So on this one, you can see these panels are slightly narrower. They are 3 inches wide instead of 3 1/8 like here. And that way I was able to get 2 sections from one 6x6 piece because this designer paper is 6x6. This middle section is slightly smaller and comes from another, did it come from another piece? I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. And you'll just have to follow my blog to find out. But I think it's from the same piece. It is, because look at that. These are two skinny little pieces of designer paper. They don't go down all the way. They're shorter. And they were cut off from the top of the designer paper. There, now I know what I did. So I made these a long time ago when I first got that paper though. They're so pretty. And I will be giving dimensions for these strips the same way that I had dimensions for these strips, even though they're not the same. These are more bulky and a bad use of paper. So I'll tell you the dimensions for the other way. And I think I embossed all of it and then stuck it down, because that's just the way it works in an embossing folder. So don't worry about that. You could always take your bone folder and, like rub out the areas that are going to be glued together where you see these two fitting together. Just rub them and then they flatten out a little bit more. And here we see that we have the embellishments on the front sections here. There's the sentiment, there's an inside sentiment, and again, you can write on the back side if you want, okay? And then the other card that I made is taller because I did have versions for A4 size cardstock. Those of you who live in Europe and other parts of the world where you don't use letter size cardstock, you'll be getting measurements for you when I share the Gallery Blooms versions. So these two cards, this one's the A4 size and this one is the letter size. You can see the difference in height. The skinniness, there's a little difference in the skinniness too, I believe. Let me check. Slightly, yep, slightly. So this one's slightly wider than this one. So yeah, so there you go. This one will be in centimeters, basically is what I'm telling you. And all from the same papers again, one sheet of designer paper, 6x6 to make these Gallery Blooms cards. So Museum Gallery Fold, I hope you enjoyed it. It was one that I loved designing and creating and coming up with. It was just so much fun and it's easy, super easy. So there you go. News. I'm trying to think of what kind of news I need to share with you before I let you go. I hope you got inspired. So yes, I did, Faye. She goes, did you use the rectangle die cuts? I did. In fact, that will be shared in that blog post too. And that's why it's a little bit more of a complicated card, because I used the dies, I used the embossing folder. There's, a few more little steps in there. So thank you for seeing that. She could tell. I love it. So what she meant was, because there's a rectangle die that comes with the kit. And I believe that's what I did. Let me just peel this way. Yep, there it is. Oh, you guys can't see. Hang on. There we go. You can see that was cut as a frame piece. So there you go. Did the rectangle dies on that. You're smart. You got that there. Okay, so as far as news goes, yes, thanks, Tracy. It is a good way to stretch 6x6. As far as news goes, there's no current flash sale right now that I'm aware of, but we do have the release of the online exclusives, some new online exclusive products that just debuted beginning of July. Beginning of August, you're going to see some more things that are labeled last chance products in the online store. So you'll want to check that out. And then beginning of September. So there's always something happening at the beginning of each month. And we always have new kit collection releases like the beautiful blues at the beginning of each month too. But it takes turns. So it's either an online exclusive or it's a last chance refresher kind of thing that happens every other month. And then we also have catalogs in there, 3 catalogs. So beginning of July, we had online exclusives. Beginning of August, we're going to have some last chance things updated. And then beginning of September, we're going to have online exclusives and a mini catalog beginning. So if you are not on someone's mailing list, you live in the US, and you would like to have a publication of this catalog sent to you, make sure that you go to my website at stampyourartout.com, click on shop, go to catalogs, and then fill out the request form so that I can mail you a copy. You want to fill out that request form soon because I need to have those names figured out by the end of this month. So that's happening. Let me take you to my computer so that you can see how to get to my website. I'm going to bring up an incognito tab here, okay? So we're just going to, there we go. Let's do this. We got that little guy with the glasses. We're going to go to stampyourartout.com. You can go to shop, go to catalogs, and this is where you can find a link for requesting the catalogs. You can also, at that link, see an online version of the annual catalog that you can download. When you're on my website, you can also click on home, go to subscribe, and that's how you can subscribe to my blog posts and my newsletters. If you're a paper pumpkin guru, fanatic, obsessed person like I am, you can click on Paper Pumpkin and you can learn more about it. You can sign up to get the kits if you haven't yet or whatever. You can see my recent blog posts about it, older posts. Go to Pinterest and see what I've been pinning. You can also get the stamp set case inserts there. So this is a different line of kits. Just wanted to point that out to you. And if you're interested in looking at the blog, you can either go to home and click on blog, or you can go here, my blog, or you can click on one of the most recent blog posts that I have shared. I do cards, I do scrapbooking. I like to even do home decor. One of my recent posts was about my trip to Las Vegas with my sister, getting the surgery, my husband's trip to Vienna, and then at the end, there is some home decor, some fun stuff that I put on my walls using our Mediterranean Blooms paper because designer paper is pretty. And sometimes you just want to frame it. Okay, I think that's it. So if you are tuning into my lives, make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you're getting notifications by clicking on that bell. And my next live will be on Wednesday, this next week. Wednesday, I do my lives typically on Wednesdays. I missed this past Wednesday, sorry. But Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. And I share all kinds of paper crafting goodness, including paper pumpkin stuff, which it will be this next Wednesday, which is why I pointed that out on my website. And then sometimes I go live at other times, like today. Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes a Sunday here and there. Thank you to my YouTube members. Again, don't forget that you have a live coming up at the end of the month. The information can be found on my Google Calendar, which is in the description of my video. So you can see the information about all my lives on my schedule by going there. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you all had a great time. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.